Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. So, this is the new moon solar eclipse Aries video by Horoscope. So, I will be delineating what each rising sign can expect during and after this upcoming eclipse. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So, first things first, let's just talk briefly about the general energy for this eclipse. And if you haven't already watched the general video concerning this upcoming new moon solar eclipse in Aries, the link is in the description box below so you can check it out. But essentially, generally speaking, the energy of this eclipse is about new beginnings in a very bold and dynamic sort of way. Now, because of the cosmic weather surrounding this eclipse, I titled the general video, Your Past May Be Your Future, because we've got Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde. And it just means that there could be a resurgence of something from the past that's moving into your future in a different sort of way. Now, that's not going to apply to everybody, clearly. Some people may have a new beginning that has nothing to do with their past, right? But many people are either remembering things from their past that they loved, that they find valuable, that they want to incorporate into their lives. Many people are coming back around, but this time around, the situation or the relationship is going to be different, perhaps even better or more aligned. So it's really up for grabs. And that's kind of how eclipse energy works. It's like the universe can really surprise you with respect to what is coming, with respect to what's being eclipsed out, like we experienced with the lunar eclipse in Virgo 2 weeks ago, and what is being eclipsed in via this solar eclipse in Aries this week. All right. So you have to stay flexible. You have to stay adaptable. Be receptive to whatever the universe is guiding you to, or even perhaps urging you to do. So I will actually give a personal example right now because I literally just experienced this yesterday. So I'm in a very pivotal point in my life, and the universe has been trying to really get me to conquer my fears and to really commit to the things that I desire. Now, that's the short story version. Maybe at one point I'll get into the long story version. However, yesterday I was urged to do something that I felt a little afraid to do. And even as an astrologer, knowing what the astrology entails, what is to come, and even what themes are going to play out in my life, I often get a little scared or I get a little anxious, especially around eclipse time, because the energy of eclipses can be really erratic. And so for this particular eclipse season this March, I was kind of bracing myself because the eclipses are affecting not just me personally as a Virgo, but it's affecting my relationships. And relationships is where I hold a lot of fear. Okay, full transparency here. And so yesterday, the universe like gave me this push in the sense of I felt really compelled to reach out to someone, even though I was afraid to do so, even though I was bracing myself for the worst. And it was honestly one of the best things I could have done because it opened up a door to communication that I think had been closed, or that, it opened up communication where both of us had been kind of reluctant when it came to communication and speaking and being vulnerable and things like that. And so it's like, and this is a resurgence for me, right? This is something, specifically someone from the past who has come back around, and the flavor, the energy of this new situation is very different from the past. And so I can personally attest to the fact that this period of time right now, not only just the eclipses, but the rest of the astrological energy may be bringing something or someone back around in a very different sort of way. And so if at this time you are finding that the universe is sort of pushing you out of your comfort zone, making you confront fears, getting you to be a little more risky, a little more expressive, to say what's really on your mind, to do things you otherwise wouldn't do those things. follow that urge, indulge that urge, or even that curiosity at this time, because it is literally leading you to where you need to go. And this new moon solar eclipse in Aries, it's like kicking the door open to a whole new dimension, a whole new portal, new experiences. And it's just the beginning, because the way that 2025 is set up, there's going to be a lot of new dynamic energy. And so this eclipse is kind of kicking it off. All right. So interesting times that we are in. But again, indulge your curiosity and allow the universe to show you just how good things can really get, because they are indeed about to get good. Even if it doesn't look like that in our immediate environment, even though if it feels like, especially here in the US, it's like things are going to hell in a handbasket. It's because we are in this period of transition. And what lies on the other side of this transition, what's on the other side of this doorway that is being opened right now, is nothing short of beautiful, miraculous, fun, fulfilling, and abundant. All right. So hopefully you get what you're picking up what I'm putting down, and you're understanding where we're at in terms of not only the astrological energy, but this time period at present. All right, so now let us get into each rising sign and talk about what each sign can expect with respect to this new moon solar eclipse in Aries. All right, so of course, we start at the beginning, and so we start with Aries rising. So for you, Aries, this solar eclipse is happening in your first house of self. Now, 2025 is a particularly dynamic year for you, because there's a lot of cosmic activity happening in your first house. So everything about 2025 generally for you is about change and transformation. This is like you version 2.0. And so with this eclipse, you can definitely expect changes and transformations when it comes to the way that you think, your outlook on life, how people perceive you, how you physically look. It's a very personal transformation that's happening right now, and this eclipse is ushering that in for you. So be receptive to however the universe is trying to change or even mold you right now. There could be this desire to want to change how you look, change your aesthetic, change your personal style. There could be a focus on your lifestyle and how you want that to look going forward. There's also a social, or should I say, a relationship sort of element to this, right? Our first house really covers how the world perceives us. And so there could be this desire, or even this drive to change how the world perceives you. This energy is definitely giving makeover, right? And not in the superficial sense, like, oh, changing your makeup or your looks, although that could be a part of it, but more so like, this is how I want to present myself in society. This is how I want people to look at me. This is how I want people to think about me. And the universe has your back and is supporting you in making these changes. So, whatever you are urged to do, change, put on, take off, work out, bulk up, lose weight, whatever it is, change your mindset. Allow the universe to not only guide you, but support you in that endeavor. Because again, this is just the beginning of a very personal transformation that's happening for you this year. All right, so next up, we've got Taurus rising. So for you, Taurians, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries is happening in your 12th house of spirituality, solitude, and confinement. All right, so everything that's happening with this eclipse, the changes, the transformations, the new doors that are opening, it's happening in a way that you probably won't be able to perceive right now. The 12th house is the house of the hidden. It's the house of the shadow self. It's the house of the subconscious, right? It's the house where we are solitary, where we are alone with ourselves and our spirituality, right? And so there is a surge of new energy happening at this subconscious level for you. It's this inner change that you won't necessarily be able to perceive consciously. It could be a change in beliefs, a change of mindset. It is an undoing of your old self, but in a way that your consciousness is not yet focused on. So again, this could be adopting a whole new mindset, but having yet to sort of bring that out into society. This could be a change of beliefs, but it's happening on a cellular or a DNA level, even. So, all of these changes, like I said, are very subtle and they're very profound. When we talk about change, particularly transformation from the inside out, such as a 12th house transit like this, the change is profound. And when it's time for you to emerge as this new version of yourself, you've done the inner work, and that's reflected not only in you as you present outwardly, but how the world responds to you and how the world receives you and perceives you. So everything about this particular eclipse is an inside job. So rest a lot. The 12th house is the house of rest. Hydrate, meditate, pray, take some time to be alone with yourself, alone with your thoughts. This is a great time to journal, whether you're doing it audio, visual, writing, whatever it is. Getting into yourself, getting into your spirituality is key right now because that is where all of this change is occurring. And don't worry if you're not seeing the changes outwardly like everyone else is. That's not how this eclipse is designed for you specifically. So be patient with yourself and watch this new you unfold slowly over time. All right, so next up, we've got Gemini rising. And for you, Gemini, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries is happening in your 11th house of friendship and goals. Now, the 11th house is kind of a social house. It has to do with our friendships, our associations, any groups that we belong to or identify with. And so this could be a time when you're finding new friends, new people to associate with. And it's not just about, oh, I'm just meeting new people, it's whatever. It's more so about, I have this new mindset, I have this new belief system, even. And now I'm connecting with people on the same wavelength, people who share the same ideas, the same goals, even, right? So you may find that this particular eclipse starts to usher in new people start orbiting into your reality that reflect perhaps this new and improved you. Okay, and that's really cool. And then the 11th house is also the house of not only goals and ambitions, but as it's also the house of gains. So first, this is the house where you dream upon us, where you wish upon a star, I should say. So your lofty goals, your ambitions, the things that you perhaps want to have, be, or do in life is covered by your 11th house. And so for you, this eclipse could really start giving you new ideas, new goals, new aspirations that you'd like to achieve. 2025 is a year of transformation. It's us entering into a new dimension. And with that new dimension, perhaps comes new goals and ideals and things that you want to have in your life. Maybe for the longest time, you really wanted to do X, Y, or Z. And now all of a sudden, your interests have shifted. And so now you're dreaming different dreams about the things that you want to accomplish. The 11th house is also the house of gains, particularly gains gained from the 10th house. Now, the 10th house has to do with our career. So, your career, your business, right? So, this could be a time when you are getting recognition, right, from whatever you've done in the past. This could be money, this could be a promotion, this could just be work you've done before is finally being recognized or rewarded, okay? And in a new, distinct, and dynamic sort of way, since we're talking about a solar eclipse in the zodiac sign of Aries, all right? And so, to recap for you, this is a time when your friendships and your social circle may be shifting or maybe adding new people, right? Moving into different spaces. And this is also a time when you may have different or even amplified desires and goals that you'd like to go after and achieve in the future. All right, so next up, we've got Cancer rising. And so for you, Cancer, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries is happening in your 10th house of career and public life. Now, the 10th house is one of the more dynamic houses, okay? So the effects of the eclipse, you may feel it quite strongly, okay? In a way that could be slightly uncomfortable, not gonna lie to you, all right? And so for you, this could usher in a time of new career, new goals, a shift in your career, starting something new. This may, here's a perfect example of how uncomfortability could lead to something new career wise. You've been ruminating on starting your own business, and perhaps you've been working at it diligently while you still have your 9 to 5, while you're still working in your chosen career. And you find that this month you get laid off, or maybe you even get fired, or something changes and you are forced to leave this job, perhaps that you've had for a while. Now, of course, that feels uncomfortable because it brings up fear. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? But it leaves this void that can be filled by the very thing that you want, which is your own business, hanging out your own shingle, right? Becoming an entrepreneur. Okay. And so that's that uncomfortability I was talking about. Embrace that, lean into it, because ultimately, whatever is leaving, whatever was eclipsed or is being eclipsed out of your life at this time, is creating a void for the very thing that you want. So it's really important that you don't get stuck in the feeling of, oh my gosh, I lost this. This didn't work out. No one is saying that you can't feel bad or grieve the loss of something. I'm not saying that at all. As a matter of fact, that's a healthy way of dealing with it. Be angry, be sad. But also, you have to see the other side of that coin, which is now I have the opportunity to do what I really want. Now I have the opportunity to chase this dream. Now I have the opportunity to start something new that's more in alignment with my desires. So, regardless of what transpires with this eclipse, ultimately it's bringing you two things that I believe are invaluable: opportunity and freedom. And it's really up to you to grab both of those things by the hands and say, all right, I'm going to run with this. So the choice is yours, but either way, career, business, social status, your reputation, all of these things are going to be affected by this eclipse in the best way possible. All right, so keeping it moving, we now arrive at Leo rising. So for you, Leo, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries is happening in your ninth house of higher education and long distance travel. So the ninth house is known as the adventure house. That's what I like to call it. It's the house where you broaden your horizons, where you experience expansion, and when you essentially embark on adventures. And so I love this for you because Aries is your fellow fire sign, right? Aries is like your cousin. And so there's this drive, this motivation, there's this ignition, if you will, when it comes to new adventures in life. Everything about this time period for you, particularly, and by time period, I mean 2025, this year is about expansion for you. So I wouldn't be surprised if you are pushed out of your comfort zone, if you're kind of urged or even forced to experience different things in life. And by different, I mean people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different belief systems, different religions and ideologies. This time period is about broadening your horizon and expanding your mind. And this particular eclipse is the universe's way of kicking open a new door, perhaps a door that you didn't know existed, but now you want to go through. Now you want to experience this difference. You want to experience this adventure. Maybe even your taste for adventure is peaking. You may find that going forward, particularly this year, beginning in March, you have this strong desire or this strong wanderlust energy where you want to go different places, you want to travel. Maybe you want to learn more and experience more in life. You know, the ninth house also covers higher education. So maybe you have this drive to get a higher degree, maybe go to college, grad school, law school, medical school, get advanced certifications. Like you just want to know more and experience more. So, my advice for you is however the universe is trying to expand you at this time, be receptive to it and allow it. Don't limit yourself. Don't rely on past beliefs that keep you small and that keep you stuck. If there's anything presenting itself or anything that's tugging at you, that wants you to stay small, that wants you to stay limited, that doesn't want you to expand, understand that it's likely not in alignment with who you're becoming and where the universe is trying to take you. So be open, receptive, and heed the call of this desire to expand, this desire to embark on new adventures, and this desire to experience all of the new things that the universe wants to open you up to at this time. All right, so next up, we've got Virgo rising. So for you, Virgo, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries is happening in your 8th house of intimacy and shared resources. Now, Virgo, I know that you guys aren't necessarily the most emotional sign. I'm a Virgo sun, so I get it completely, right? But there's something about this year in particular, with all of this Aries energy that's going to be happening, and this solar eclipse specifically, that wants to open you up to the softer side of you, the more emotionally vulnerable side of you. Understanding that you're not only safe in your emotions, but you can really have the things that you want. You don't have to be so practical all the time. You don't have to think, oh, well, I should want this because it makes sense, or I should put my effort into this because it's a safe bet. Like, there's something about this time period, this year in particular, that wants you to be emotionally vulnerable, that may even want you to not only tap into your emotions, use them to empower yourself, but also really feel, embody, and not be afraid to want what you want. Okay, so there is a focus on intimacy at this time. So, intimate partnerships and the emotional vulnerability that goes with that is going to be a thing. And understand that Aries is a sign that is all about taking risks. Aries is impulsive, Aries is instinctive, right? Kind of not a far cry from who you are naturally, but that's not how you're naturally wired, right? You guys are practical. You guys analyze everything before moving forward so you can do so in a way that's perfect, right? There's a little messiness that the universe is requiring you to get comfortable with at this time. Emotions can be messy, they can also bring up fear. Moving instinctively means that you're not waiting for the perfect conditions. You're kind of just like, all right, I'm feeling this right now, so this is what I'm going to do. Okay. And so when it comes to that, understand that moving forward is not going to be an endeavor in perfectionism. It's going to be moving from your unadulterated, pure, raw emotion. And in that way, you can forge some new intimate relationships. All right, so keep that in mind. And then the second thing is that eighth house has to do with shared resources. So this could be a new chapter when it comes to things like loans, mortgages, inheritances, and all of that good stuff. Okay. And so there could be, debt being canceled, or you taking on new debt, or anything having to do with other people's money is entering a new chapter right now. So pay attention to that. But either way, Virgo, what I want you to take away from this is that moving forward, messy, somewhat unprepared, but really in alignment with your raw desires, is everything that the universe is trying to get you to understand at this time. All right, so moving right along, we get to Libra rising. And so for you, Libra, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries is happening in your 7th house of relationships. Now, the 7th house is one of the dynamic houses. So you guys are going to feel the energy of this eclipse quite intensely, okay, as it's happening basically opposite to your rising sign. So there is going to be a focus on relationships, and I'm sure that suits you just fine because you guys are the relationship sign. So relationships are par for the course for you. Okay. Now, this is ushering a new chapter of relationships, or new types of relationships altogether. And there is this emphasis. It's like the universe wants to get you to understand what you really want and need in relationships. Now, what I'm about to say, I mean no shade by, okay? But it's like Libra sometimes can be people pleasers. They want to have peace, harmony. They want to have a relationship for the sake of having a relationship, even if it doesn't necessarily vibe well with what they really want. The universe wants you to be fearless in the pursuit of the relationship that you honestly want. The universe no longer wants you to put up with personality traits, character traits, goals of other people, their needs, desires, and their opinions, just for the sake of having them around. This is about, listen, I want X, Y, and Z when it comes to relationships. Okay. And you're going to get really clear on this actually, because your planetary ruler and chart ruler is Venus, and Venus is retrograde right now. And at the time that I'm filming this, she's actually retrograde in your 7th house. So you're getting very clear on what you want and what you don't want in relationships. And the relationships that I'm referencing are your marriages, your committed romantic relationships, and your business partnerships, right? So you're getting clear on your criteria. And then this eclipse is like, all right, so now that you've gotten clear on your criteria, let me bring you some candidates that actually match this criteria. Or the other way that this could play out. The universe is bringing you candidates that don't match the criteria and are kind of trying to see, okay, are you going to put up with what you don't want still? Or are you going to be fearless and go after the relationships that are aligned with your criteria and your heart's truest desires? All right. So do not take this lightly. I mean, I don't think that you can. I don't think that the universe is going to let you take it lightly, but I want you to put yourself first right now. The universe wants you to put yourself first and go with what you actually want, not what is going to get you a relationship just to merely have one. It's time for you to be a little selfish, and this eclipse is allowing you to be just that. All right, so next up, we've got Scorpio rising. And so for you, Scorpio, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries is happening in your 6th house of work and health. Now, Scorpio gets the moniker of being the sexy sign, right? You guys are very much concerned with sex. But, spoiler alert, the 6th house has nothing to do with sex, and it's arguably a lot less than sexy. The 6th house covers work and health, right? Your 9 to 5, your daily routine, plus your physical well-being, all right? And so this is the area where you are experiencing a resurgence of something from the past, right? Or a whole new, brand spanking new beginning, okay? So this could find you having a new job. This could finally have you engaging in life in a way that's really in alignment with your truest desires, meaning you're living life on your own terms and you're making every day of life suit your needs exactly how you want them to be. So this could be deciding to no longer have a 9 to 5 and maybe embark on the entrepreneurial journey. Okay, this could have you changing jobs so that you're doing something that you actually want as opposed to doing something just for money or just to survive. Now, a health issue could come into focus at this time. Perhaps you've healed and now you're sort of going out into the world as this healed person. Or maybe perhaps this eclipse is getting you to focus on your health a lot more. Perhaps before something major happens. All right. Either way, there's a newness happening for you on a very day-to-day routine basis. So this may find your daily routine changing, your obligations concerning your daily routine changing as well. Okay, so even though the subject matter of this eclipse is less than sexy, this is the area of life, or should I say the areas of life, that will be experiencing a very dynamic new beginning throughout the course of 2025. We've got so much energy in Aries that how you live your life on a daily basis and your physical well-being are the subject matters for this year, and you're experiencing a whole new world concerning those things. All right, so pay attention to how your daily routine is changing and be receptive to however the universe is trying to get you to change in this area of life. All right, so next up, we've got Sagittarius rising. And so for you, Sag, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries is happening in your 5th house of romance, self-expression, and children. So the 5th house is the fun house. So not only with this solar eclipse, but with the general energy of the astrology for 2025 is putting an emphasis on the lighter side of life for you. So there is this emphasis, this profound emphasis actually on having fun, being childlike, expressing yourself. There could be a focus on romantic dating and relationships, as well as a focus on children. And so this is the area of life where you're experiencing something new at this time. The universe wants to usher in a breath of fresh air, a new type, perhaps a new chapter in life that involves children in some way, shape, or form. That's essentially what this eclipse is bringing to you. And it's requiring you to be courageous enough to really follow your heart, to stand 10 toes down when it comes to your desires, the things that you want to achieve. You know, if we're talking about kids, we're talking about conception, especially because this eclipse is happening in the sign of Aries. So there could be an undercurrent of sex, sexual relations, conception of children right now. That could definitely be a thing. Or perhaps this eclipse is urging you to really express yourself. You know, over the last couple of years, all of us have gone through some sort of transformation. And so perhaps it's time for you to express this 2.0 version of you, or this person that's really in touch with their desires and is fearlessly expressing themselves. Or this could just mark the beginning of a new chapter when you're not taking life so seriously, or perhaps life isn't taking you so seriously, and you can inject more fun, more childlike, heart-centered energy into your life. But either way, this eclipse is starting a chapter that's a lot lighter, a lot less serious, and a lot more aligned with your heart's truest desires. All right, so next up, we've got Capricorn rising. So for you, Cap, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries is happening in your fourth house of home and family. Now, the fourth house is one of the dynamic houses, so you will feel the energy of this eclipse quite intensely. So, when it comes to home, family, property, domestic life, your private life, even, this is the area where you're going to experience a reset, a clean slate, new intentions, walking through a new portal, a new dimension, all of that good stuff. Okay. But here's the thing, this time around, this reset is really getting you to focus on what it is that you truly desire. Now, home and family can be a really complicated area of life, right? We've got the people that we live with, the people that we're related to, we even have our lineage, which inherent in those things can be this sense of obligation, tradition, even this structure that may not have been malleable in the past. I feel like this eclipse, and more so the energy of the astrology of 2025, is about a new structure, a new family tree, even. All right, so take that for what it's worth. That could literally mean a new family tree, additions to the family, but it could be forging your own path. It could be setting new traditions based on what actually works for you and what you desire, as opposed to perhaps what worked for your parents, grandparents, or even your ancestors, right? So, this could be a really exciting time when you're literally becoming the architect of your family. Now, on a more mundane side, this could be purchasing new property, becoming a first time homeowner, getting into real estate, anything having to do with property, owning property, leasing property. There could be a new chapter of that coming in as well. But otherwise, I like this whole idea of you being the architect of a new family structure. So, don't resist whatever the universe is trying to have you build at this time. You're building something long lasting, but that perhaps may look very different than what you or your family is used to. Don't be afraid of that. Be fearless in the pursuit of this and be courageous enough to perhaps grow a new family tree or even a new family orchard. I love this for you. All right. So next up, we've got Aquarius rising. And so for you, Aquarius, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries is happening in your third house of ideas and communication. Now, I like to call the third house the busy bee house. So this eclipse could bring with it a lot of activity, particularly within your immediate vicinity, right? Like your neighborhood or your community, things that are essentially right under your nose. So there is a new energy, right, that's entering your life, beginning with this eclipse and continuing throughout 2025, of more activity in your immediate vicinity, right? So, doing new things, learning new things. It could really be a time when you're experiencing a lot more, you're talking to people more, you're being more social, you are perhaps learning new skills, transacting business. Like, again, there's this resurgence or this new surgence of dynamic, bold energy. And this isn't being busy for no reason or with no direction or goal. All of this busy energy is really meant to reflect sort of the curiosity and the desires of your own heart, right? Aries wants you to be fearless in the pursuit of the things that you want. And this eclipse is sort of getting you to get busy at those things, right? Maybe you want to learn how to sew or play the guitar. Maybe you want to start a side hustle by selling some of your creations. I feel like this new moon solar eclipse in Aries could really give you the push and sort of dynamic energy to really start doing this. Now, the third house also covers siblings, extended family members, people in your immediate vicinity. So these relationships could become highlighted at this time. This eclipse could find you having new neighbors, maybe new people are moving into the neighborhood, or maybe something's going on with a sibling that's new and dynamic, either as you deal with them or maybe even in their own lives separately. But either way, things are about to get very busy with this eclipse, so prepare yourself. And it might be remarkably different from the kind of life you were living before. Maybe things were a little stuck and stagnant, or maybe you're now just going to be busy in a different sort of way. But either way, understand that this year, and definitely beginning with this eclipse, things are going to get a lot busier in your life and your immediate vicinity. All right, and last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces rising. And so for you, Pisces, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your second house of money and material possessions. So money matters are the focus of the energy of this eclipse, and you are walking into a whole new chapter. As a matter of fact, money is going to be a big thing in 2025, and a new way of making money or a new way of structuring your financial life is emerging this year. And this new financial life or this new financial situation is really based off of what you want. There is this drive, there's even this selfishness when it comes to your financial situation. And so, this is the time when perhaps you're breaking out of the paradigm of working just to survive or doing things just for the sake of having money or just to pay bills. It's like, no, the universe wants you to really understand and focus and hone in on what do you actually want and how do you want to make money. It's not just about making money by doing anything. How do you want to make money? What are you passionate about? Or perhaps what instinctively, how are you wired to make money even? I feel like that's a question that this not only eclipse, but the astrology of 2025 is going to be asking of you. So, money matters, making new money, new income streams is the focus of this eclipse. And that's really exciting because I know that you guys in particular have had a hard go of it when it comes to your finances and money and breaking out of financial paradigms. And so now is the time when you're finally breaking those chains and you're entering a new dimension of this financial sector of your life. All right. So take this seriously. But most importantly, you got to be fearless with this. Breaking chains is no small feat. And the same keys that you used to open doors before are not going to work for these new doors. So you have to be fearless, you have to be courageous, and you have to be one track minded. Your desire and your goal has to take precedence over everything else. This isn't the time to say, oh, well, I don't know. Don't fall back into old patterns. Be fearless and courageous in the pursuit of these new financial endeavors and paradigms. It is about damn time. All right, my loves. So that concludes this video on the new moon solar eclipse in Aries horoscopes. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going into this eclipse and beyond. As always, I appreciate you so much for your membership, for your patronage, and just for your support generally. It means the world to me, and there are so many more types of these exclusive videos coming in the very, very near future. So again, thanks so much for your membership, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care and happy new moon solar eclipse.